What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's Friday. It's been very, in my opinion, very difficult day to trade. It's been a range day, as you can clearly see. Not super consistent. Maybe at least not the tops. Maybe bottom. But even then, to me, it was a very difficult day. Very volatile, very irrational movement. And I was honestly, I was having a hard time following the price action. Not gonna lie. But I did have one winner, one trade here. Super lucky. I'll talk about it when I get there. But yeah, let's talk about it. So I usually wait about 5 minutes before or after market opens. So I don't look for a trade within those 5 minutes. I just skip that just because in the past I got burnt. So, but the only real opportunity comes in around 8:30, 8:40. You have a second entry short here. This is a pretty much textbook setup here at the key entry point, at the EMA, all the good stuff with confirmation of this channel. Then the price goes down. We test the overnight low, which is what this dotted line is. Get a small bounce here, and price breaks out of that range. And most breakouts fail, so I don't really trade the breakouts like that. I usually wait for a higher low, which you get one here, but that's too far away. It's also congested. And the price reversed straight up, which is interesting, and goes all the way up, almost tests the overnight high. There is a lower high here. Again, this is all congestion. Can't trade there. There is a second entry long failure, because technically speaking, you can count this as a zero, this whole thing. So you have a first entry, second entry, and then the failure. So you could trade that. I didn't, because I was still expecting the price to test this high. Of course, price reverses down. You got a break, new low. This is all congestion. I'm not interested in trading all this. Every time I see this area like this, I just skip it. Not worth it. Then you get a true low here, basically, and the price reverses again. And we don't test the overnight low pretty much the rest of the day, so that should kind of tells me something that's happening. But you can clearly see we're trying to test this multiple times to come back here, and we just couldn't. So but yeah, price goes back up, and you have a break and a two-legged correction. Basically, there's a second entry short here. Again, you're not really looking for shorts, you're kind of looking for, well, actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. If you tighten this up a little bit, you have a break and a new high. So technically speaking, you could take this short, because you are in a short-term correction with a break new low. But to me, that's too close to the EMA. It's also in the middle of the range, so not interested. And then price goes back up again. Congestion here in the trade, goes back down. You get a second entry here as well at the EMA. Again, the point here is you looking for the price to retest this low and also retest this low, this overnight low. So, but of course, the buyer stepped in and pushed the price back up. There's a second entry long here. Here, congestion, cannot take that. Break new high, reverse. There's a trend working here. No new low, unfortunately, and go back up again. And finally, price breaks this upper, or a bigger channel, I should say, and with a second entry long here, you can't take that. Again, congestion. Same thing with the short, cannot take that. It's all congestion here. Don't really see a trade here as well. We finally get a new low from this channel, right? Break new low. Higher low, cannot take that. And then finally, price starts to go back up again. Again, we're trying to go back down. Can't. Buyer stepping in. Price goes back up again. We're trying to test the overnight highs. Bunch of congestion here. No trade. We get a correction here as well, and price just keeps going back up. Goes down again. I mean, there's a confirmation. Might be a wider channel here. This was my trade. Again, super lucky in my opinion. It's right in the middle of a trend or a range. Not. I was honestly at this point, I was kind of a little bit frustrated because I was having a hard time following this price action because it was moving. It was moving really fast. It was moving really fast, and when it's like that, you know, your brain doesn't really trying to keep up, and you just can't, you know. So, I saw the second entry, basically again new low, first entry, second entry with the trend at the EMA. I decided to pull a trigger, got my scalp, and I was out. And I was very fortunate. And sometimes that's how it goes, you know. You get really lucky. And again, the idea too is I was figured that we'd making these, you know, swing lows, right? You got lower, higher, low, or lower, high, lower, high, lower, high. So I was thinking price might go back down to test these overnight lows, and it just never did. So lucky trade, and then break, basically 2 legs down. Higher low here, can't take that, it's congestion. You do get a failure here because you have new low, first entry, second entry, short failure, which was a decent trade to take. Again, it's in the middle of range, so you have to keep that in mind, but the context is pretty good. And since we failed to go lower again, right, basically you have a kind of like a double bottom here, so to speak, right? I wasn't sure where the midline was. Let me just check real quick where the midline is. Yeah, I mean, here we go. That's perfect midline placement. So yeah, that's your midline right there. So maybe you could take that, and then price just skyrockets up again, failed breakout, goes back down again, and just again, I was expecting price to test the lows, never did. There is a double bottom here, micro double bottom with the higher low. I guess you can count this as a higher low, so that's a good place to go long here because you do have a break and 2 legs down. So yeah, it goes back up again, test these overnight highs, rejection, the lower highs too far away, and you do get a true second entry long here with the trend at the EMA at the key entry point. So that's a solid trade in my opinion as well. There's a higher low here as well, but that's too congested. Yeah, that was it for me, honestly. Not a best day to trade, to be honest. I should have just taken a day off. But hey, that's how it goes. You know, sometimes you get lucky, and sometimes all you need is 4 ticks. And again, the way these bars set up, the distance between this bar close and this bar is actually exactly 6 ticks, which is exactly what you need to get a scalp. Well, technically speaking, the way I enter, you only need 5 ticks instead of 6 ticks, but you get the point. One of the comments asked me, how do I enter trades? And it's super simple. If when you download the Orenco bars, it will come with Orenco threshold, which is what these green lines is or are. And I'll show you what it looks like on an indicator. Obsidian Orenco threshold. It will come with the bars, so you can customize it a little bit. I think by default it comes with 4 on each side. I think I'd reduce it to 3. And it's super simple. And the way you know when the new bar will form is when it crosses this upper band or upper line, right? So if the price could tick through that, hopefully it does, maybe not, but you will see that new bar will form, and that's how you know how to enter the trade. At least that's how I enter the trade. You can enter however you want, but that's how I enter the trade. So if there's example, I'm trying to find the second entry. So like for example, here, right, you see that you have new high, first entry, second entry. So you know whenever this bar closes, meaning that next bar will form, that will trigger the second entry. This is your signal bar. It's just like a tick chart, right? So you could technically place your order 1 tick above this bar. You can actually anticipate it because, you know, if there was a second entry right here at this bar, for example, right? I know it's not, but if there was, right, you would place your order buy order, right here. And if you're doing the max system, you'll do one tick above the signal bar, which will be one tick right above that green line, and you just leave it there. You can anticipate it, right? And here you go. See, the new bar will form. So you would get filled there, right there. You would get filled, and then you just put your stop loss, one tick below signal bar, just like Mac teaches, right? I enter at the green line, right at the green line. That's how I enter. So the benefit is I get that extra tick, right? And sometimes when you're wrong, right, you guess the price action wrong or whatever, or you misread the price action, and sometimes that extra tick does give you that scalp, right? So if you see that trade is not working the way you want it to, and you just want to scalp with 4 ticks, you could just do that. And sometimes, most of the times, it does help you out. It'll give you that scalp and it'll reverse, just like this trade right here, right? It actually went 7 ticks because technically I entered right there, and this was, yeah, that's when it did. So 7 ticks, right? All I need is 5. So you got, I got extra ticks. Sorry, I can't talk today. But that's how I enter the trade. Same thing for the opposite for the short. If there's a second entry short like forming right now, for example, I would anticipate, you can do stop sell order and just place it right there. However, you do have to be careful if you do place your, for example, your stop order like this, the price might come down and touch it and fill you, okay? So you do have to be 100% sure that's the trade that you want to take, right? You have to be absolutely sure, because if you place it at the line, sometimes the price will come back and touch that order and it'll fill you in reverse, right? So make sure that if you're trading, with these lines, anticipating, make sure it's 100% sure that you want to take that trade, right? Because if you're not sure, if you don't know, don't place that order, because sometimes it will touch it, right, and then instantly reverse. So be careful and keep that in mind. But like I said, most second entry, if you're reading the price correctly, most second entry, like 97% of the time, they work. Okay, there is times where the price will actually fill you, go up a couple ticks, and then reverse, stop you out by a tick, and then reverse again and go exactly where you thought it was gonna go. Yes, that happens. It's very rare. I think last time it happened to me was probably 2 months ago. It does happen on the tick chart as well. So don't think that it doesn't happen on a 2000 tick chart. It does happen. I've seen it many times. But most of the times the second entry work really, really well with these bars, okay? Especially if you're scalping for just 4 ticks. It works extremely well and it's very efficient with the with the second entries. And if you apply my rules, which is like don't trade congestion and don't trade into the EMA, right? Make sure you have enough room to scalp out. It works even better. Like the odds are extremely in your favor, because you'll get second entry. You get second entry. Like, there's a second entry right here, right? So you have new high, first entry, second entry right here, right? And even if you take this trade right here at the bar close, you still get your scalp, because the distance from that bar close and the other wick, top of that wick, is 1.5. So you still get your scalp, even if you make a mistake. To me, again, like I said, this is congestion. This is a 4-bar congestion. 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't trade that, right? And you go exactly into the EMA. I don't trade that. And also, I have my EMA is on each tick. Default, it's on bar close. I have it on each tick because I want to know exactly where the EMA is at on each tick, okay? Because it's important to me, because like I said, I do not take trades into the EMA. So that gives me more of a heads up, because if it's on a bar close, EMA will actually be 1 bar behind, okay? If you put it on each tick, it'll be right at that bar, okay? So that's just that. Anyways, like I said before, difficult day. Monday is a holiday. and I'm also be out of town for the whole week anyways. So I'll be back the following week, and so no chart reviews, unfortunately. I should have started doing this after I get back from vacation, but hey, it is what it is. But nevertheless, I hope you had a green week. I hope you enjoy your weekend, and I will catch you guys in a week or so. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.